Second screenshot, end of second line is method is equal to get. So that's the first change that you have to make. The second change that you have to make is that if you look at the second line, first word, it says action equal to, followed by some link. And that link is some facebook.com/login.php link. So essentially, normally when you type your username and password and click on login, the username password will go here, which is facebook.com/login.php !login_attempt is equal to 1. But you don't want the username password to go to Facebook. You want the username password to come to you. So instead of action equal to followed by some Facebook URL, you remove the entire URL and you simply type record.php. Record.php. So you make two simple changes. First change is instead of method equal to post, you change it to method equal to get. Second change is that after action equal to, there is some Facebook URL mentioned within the double quotes. So you can change the URL to record.php. Record.php. As simple as that. Now you click on File, Save As, and you save the text file as index.php. Index.php. And make sure that when you're saving the file, you have selected the All Files option in the Save As type field. So I'll just repeat the first 5 steps. Step number 1, open your browser, go to facebook.com, log out from your account, right click anywhere on your account and select View Page Source. View Page Source. So that will open up the source code of facebook.com's login screen. And once you open up the source code of facebook.com login screen, you press Ctrl A, that is select all, then Ctrl C, that is copy, and then you paste it into a blank notepad file. And once you have pasted the source code in a blank notepad file, you press Ctrl F, that is find, and you look for action equal to. Action equal to. And when you find that line, there are 2 simple changes you make. Instead of method is equal to post, you type method is equal to get. And instead of action equal to followed by some URL, a Facebook URL, you change that to record.php. So essentially what we have done so far is we have taken the login screen of facebook.com, we've copied the source code because we want the phishing page or the fake login screen to look exactly like the real login screen. So we copy pasted the code into the notepad file and we have made 2 changes. Essentially the changes have been made so that when the victim clicks on the submit button, the username password will not go to Facebook, but instead will come to the criminal. Now we need to create a new notepad file. A new notepad file. And I'll just give all of you a couple of minutes to copy this code down. So for the next couple of minutes, I'm just going to not say anything while all of you copy this text down. This is PHP code. So you basically write it down in a new notepad file. And you save it as record.php. So I'll give all of you a couple of minutes to do that. So like I was saying, you create a new notepad file. You write down this PHP code in it. And you save it as record.php. So earlier we had created index.php using the login screen code of facebook.com. And now we have created another PHP file which is record.php. And now what we do is we have to create or we have to find web hosting space on the internet. So there are various companies that give you web hosting space like net4, the number 4. So net4india.com or fatcow.com, or there are thousands of such web hosting services on the internet. So you find your own web space somewhere and you upload index.php and record.php to that server. And then you send a link to the index.php file to your friend or to the victim. And as soon as the victim clicks on that link, they will be taken to the fake login screen of Facebook. So if all of you look at the screen, the bottom part is the fake login screen of Facebook. So they will think that they have been taken to the real login screen of Facebook. And they'll enter the username password like I have done right now. Username is Ankit Fadia and password is something else. And I click on login. So I think that the username password is going to Facebook, but actually it will go to record.php and it will be saved somewhere on the criminal server. So when the user clicks on the login button, he will be automatically redirected to the Facebook website, and he will think that some error in communication may have occurred. So that's the best part of this attack. After you have stolen the username password of the victim, you automatically redirect the user to facebook.com. And how does that happen? Using that text or using the code for record.php. Record.php. So that automatically redirects the users to facebook.com after the username password has been stolen. Now in the meantime, if you log into your web server, you will notice that there is a new file that has been created, passwords.txt. Passwords.txt. So I open that file, and this is what I'll see inside that file. And inside that file, it has recorded my username, that is Ankit Fadia, and my password, which is Facebook password 123. As simple as that. So that is how you can steal somebody else's username and password by creating a fake login screen, uploading that fake login screen to your website along with another PHP file, create a link to the fake login screen and send it to the victim. Victim clicks on that link, goes to the fake login screen, thinks that he's connected to the real website, but in reality it's not the real website, it's the fake login screen. He enters the username password thinking that it's going to the real website, but actually the username password comes over here in a notepad file called passwords.txt. So what happened over here? I'll quickly repeat this whole thing so that we understand exactly what happens in a phishing attack. So step number 1 was we just go to facebook.com and we are trying to copy the source code of facebook.com login screen. So I just right click anywhere, click on view page source. So once the source code has been displayed on the screen, I select all of it and I copy the source code So Control A, Control C, and I paste it into a notepad file. And once I pasted the source code, so up until now, we have just copied the source code of Facebook.com into notepad. That's all we have done. But normally the source code of the login screen will send the victim's username password to Facebook.com. But we don't want that to happen. We want the username password, instead of going to Facebook, we want it to come to us. So now what we're going to do is do that. We search for action equal to, and we make two changes. Instead of method is equal to post, we change it to method is equal to get. So that's one change. And secondly, after action equal to, there is some URL. We change that URL to record.php. So what essentially this new code is going to do is, when the victim types in the username password, according to the old code, username password will go to facebook.com/login.php. But now, the username password goes to record.php, which is a local file on that same server. And what is that record.php file? In the next step, we create that. So this is the PHP code that we create or type into a blank notepad file, and we save that notepad file as record.php. And the code that we type is pretty straightforward. It essentially creates, so if you look at the third line of the code, the F open, that basically means create a new file called passwords.txt, and then the next few lines, F write, essentially is going to write the username and password that was received by record.php from index.php. So that's what this particular file is essentially doing. So now you upload both index.php and record.php to your own web server, create a link to index.php and send it to the victim. If the victim falls for it, clicks on the link, the victim thinks that they have been taken to a real login screen, and they'll enter the username password thinking that it's going to Facebook or Gmail or Hotmail or whatever, but actually the username password comes to record.php, which will then redirect the user to facebook.com's real website. So if you notice, look at the screen now, I've actually been redirected to the real website of facebook.com. But in the back end, that record.php file will also create a text file called passwords.txt, which is stored in the same folder where we saved index.php and record.php on my web hosting server or my web space. And when I open that password file or text file, it has my username and password stored in it. As simple as that. So that is how you can create a fake login screen for Facebook. Similarly, you can create a fake login screen for Gmail as well. So I'll quickly go through the steps. It's pretty much the same thing. And after that, I'll give you a demonstration of phishing attacks as well. So how to create a fake login screen for Gmail. So you got to repeat the process to get the source code of the Gmail login screen and change the method from post to get and the action to record.php. So everything else remains the same. I first go to gmail.com, log out from my account, right click anywhere, click on view source. The source code of Gmail login screen will get displayed. I press Control A, that is select all, then Control C, that is copy all, then paste it into a new notepad file, and within the notepad file I make two changes. Instead of method is equal to post, I change it to method is equal to get, and then instead of action equal to google.com something, I change it to record.php. Now I send the phishing URL to the victim. Victim enters the username password thinking that they're going to Gmail, but actually they're sent to record.php. And record.php will create a new passwords.txt file, and inside that the username and password has now been displayed right at the bottom. It says email is equal to Ankit Fadia and password is equal to testing Gmail password 123. As simple as that. So at this point of time, I like to show you how you can actually create or execute a phishing attack using Backtrack. So like I had promised, I think 3-4 lectures ago, from now on every lecture at least I'll try to, wherever applicable, wherever possible, I'll try my best to show you some kind of backtrack. So the backtrack that I like to kind of show you today is how to execute a phishing attack using Backtrack. So let me open up Backtrack on my computer. So in Backtrack, there is a very interesting software called Social Engineering Toolkit. In other words, it's known as SET. SET, which stands for Social Engineering Toolkit. So how to open that? I click on Applications, Backtrack, Exploitation Tools, Social Engineering Tools, Social Engineering Toolkit, and then SET. So if all of you look at the screen, this is what the Social Engineering Toolkit looks like. So it gives you various options. So it says select from the menu. So if you want social engineering attacks, you have to press 1. Fast track penetration testing 2. Third party modules means 3, and so on. So right now I'm going to select 1, which is social engineering attacks. Next, it again gives me various options of what kind of attacks I can execute. So I want to actually execute a website attack. So I'm going to select 2. Now it is again giving me various types of website attacks that I can execute. So I want to execute a phishing attack, which is often also known as credential harvester attack method. So I select 3. Now it is asking me whether I want to clone an existing website or whether I want to create or use a template to create a fake login screen. So I think it's always better to clone an existing website. So let me select 2, site cloner option. It is now asking me to enter the IP address of my own computer where the username password should be sent. So I open up a new terminal window in Backtrack and I type the command ifconfig, press enter. And if you notice, my IP address has been displayed. It's 192.168.27.128. So let me go ahead and type that. So I type 192.168.27.128, press enter. Now it is asking me to enter the URL that I wish to clone. Now the website that I want to clone is gmail.com. So let me type www.gmail.com. Press enter. It is saying cloning the website gmail.com. This could take a little bit. And now the Gmail website has been cloned. So now if I want to steal my friend's username password, I need to ask my friend to visit my own computer's IP address. So I create a link, which is essentially a link like the following. So let me just verify the IP address. So 192.168.27.128. So this is the IP address that I'll send to my friend. And I'll ask my friend to visit this particular IP address. Right? So when my friend opens their browser and connects to this IP address, Let us see what happens. Hopefully this works. Okay, it does not always work. So if all of you look at the screen, when my friend has opened his browser and connected to that link, it says Google, one account, all of Google, sign in to continue to Gmail. And the login screen looks exactly like what the Gmail login screen normally looks like. So my friend will type in the email address. So let's assume the email address is Ankit Fadia. And he types in the password. What should the password be? Let's assume the password is AFCH123 test. Right? And my friend clicks on sign in. So if all of you look at the screen, what happened? My friend was actually redirected to gmail.com. If you look at the URL, it is accounts.google.com. So my friend was redirected to the real Gmail website. So my friend thinks that, acha, koi problem hoga, there may be some error in connection. So he types his username again. And he types in his real password and clicks on sign in, and he's able to log into his account. So he won't even think more than a few seconds about what happened. But actually, if I go back to the attacker's computer and open up the social engineering toolkit, a lot of things have happened. So in the social engineering toolkit, look at the output or the log data that has been recorded. It says that we have got a hit printing the output. And the output is the following. It says possible username has been found, and the username is Ankit Fadia. And the possible password has also been found, which is AFCH123 test. As simple as that. So we have successfully managed to find out my friend's username and password. My friend thinks that he connected to the Gmail login screen, and he thinks that there was some error, and I was automatically redirected to the real Gmail website, and I entered the username password and everything was fine. But what they don't realize, the victim does not realize, is that along the way, the username and password was stolen. That is the beauty of social engineering toolkit. Let us try one more example. So once again, I open up social engineering toolkit. I press the 3 button to enter the credential harvester attack method. I once again do a site clone. The IP address where I want the information to be sent back is my own IP. And the website I want to clone is facebook.com. So it's saying this will take a few minutes, and it has successfully cloned facebook.com. So now you send the same link to your friend. Your friend clicks on that link 192.168.27.128. If you notice, it still says Gmail. I don't know why it's saying Gmail, because the IP address was wrong. If you look at the IP address, I mistyped it. So I may have to just exit this and start this again. So give me a second. Well, I quickly restart backtrack. Because I entered the wrong IP address, it would just unnecessarily create a conflict. I want to show you the fake login screen of Facebook as well. And then we'll be done with this particular demonstration. So just give me a minute while backtrack restarts. When all of you are doing this, I would highly recommend that you use backtrack from a pen drive. as opposed to VMware. The reason being that if you use backtrack in VMware, then the IP address where the thing has been hosted is not a publicly shareable IP. So you cannot just send that IP to your friend, and when they click on that link, they'll not be able to see the Facebook login screen. So only if it is a public IP will this work. So try to use the ISO version of Backtrack if you want to host a phishing page on your system. So my Backtrack is almost started. Let's just wait. Alright, so now that Backtrack has started, I once again click on Applications, Backtrack, Exploitation Tools, Social Engineering Tools, Social Engineering Toolkit, and SET. And when I click on SET, again SET opens up. I type 1 to select Social Engineering Attacks. Then I select Website Attack Vector by typing 2. Then I select Credential Harvester Attack Method by typing 3. It's very self-explanatory. Now instead of cloning a website, so for the Gmail example, I cloned a website. But instead of cloning a website, you can also use a web template. So for Facebook, let me select web template. So I type 1. Now it is asking me to enter the IP address where I want the username password to come back. So I open up a new terminal window and I type ifconfig, and my IP address has been mentioned here. So let me type that IP 192.168.27.128. Press enter, and now it is asking me which website would I like to clone. So there is